Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker is directed by J.J. Abrams and is the final conclusion to this Disney trilogy that has been brought back to us and completing the entire Skywalker saga. Now, I'm sure as everyone heard when this movie premiered, it did not do so hot. No one was really digging it at all. I was hearing nothing but bad reviews about it. So naturally, I went into this with low expectations. And to be honest, when I got out of the theater and during my time there, I fairly enjoyed it. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say that I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did. I didn't love it, certainly. No, this was not the best Star Wars movie, and no, this wasn't the best conclusion, I guess. But I'm comfortable with how it turned out overall. This is a non-spoiler review, so obviously there's only so much I can talk about. I will be doing a spoiler review, but I do want to see the movie a second time before I do that, just to kind of get all the little details in a second viewing. Sometimes you pick up on things, sometimes your opinions change on certain things that happen the second time around you see it, because there could be some foreshadowing or things make a little more sense. But I was going to make this review last night as soon as I got home. I was like, I'm going to review it, I'm going to talk about it while everything's still in my head. But I had to let it all sink in and think about and be like, did I really actually like this part that happened? Some of the parts that happen, here, the best way to put it without spoiling anything, some of the major things that happened and are revealed, it's not that I hated what happened, it's that I feel like the way it was executed wasn't the best way. And some things weren't honestly earned. The one thing I'm going to say about this is that it really did kind of undo some of the things that The Last Jedi set up. And that's another reason why I wasn't too concerned about disliking this movie, because I know a lot of people do not like The Last Jedi. I'm not gonna lie, I like The Last Jedi. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't understand the hate for it. Obviously everyone has their own opinions, and that's fine. If you don't like The Last Jedi, that's fine. If you do like The Last Jedi, that's fine. I enjoyed it for the most part. No, it's not my favorite Star Wars movie. It's towards the bottom of the list. But overall, it's a solid movie to me. It's definitely a much slower Star Wars movie, and there are some things in that I don't care for, like the whole casino thing that goes on. But overall, I enjoyed The Last Jedi and some of the things they did with it. But with this movie, it feels like J.J. Abrams was trying to one-up Rian Johnson and be like, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to undo some of the things you do and make The Rise of Skywalker a part 2 and a part 3, and we're going to wrap up this trilogy, yet also wrapping up the entire saga all into one. The movie is choppy. It really is. There are some things that, in the first act especially, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, we're just jumping everywhere at once. There was no, map out for this movie. There clearly wasn't. And, it could have came out horrible. It came out horrible for most people, and I understand that. For some people that hate this movie, you probably have valid reasons, and I can't deny that. It didn't completely ruin it for me, because I still enjoyed things in the moment for, how cool it looks. Like, the visuals are fucking awesome in this movie, as they should be. It's a Star Wars movie. It's just that some of the decisions that they made were just all out of place, and some of it not earned, and some of it just out of nowhere, and it was all timed weirdly. And at the beginning especially, I thought the second act was the best part of the movie, because that's when things started to even out a little bit, and it was going on a smoother route, and I liked some of the things that they did, and I know I can't talk about any of them. I'm dying to know what everyone loved about this movie and what everyone hated about this movie, because everyone's opinions are going to vary. This is a movie that everyone's going to talk about, and friends are going to talk about and argue over, no, this part didn't make sense. Well, I enjoyed how they did it. And when I say I had to let things sink in, there were some moments that happened mostly regarding Rey, that much I'll say, that kind of like threw me off at first, and then later in the movie I was warming up to that idea and it sort of makes sense, but then when I sit and let sink in and think about it, I'm like, no, it's not a bad idea to do that. But the way you went about it, were you just trying to rush this? Let's talk about Palpatine, because it's no secret that he's out. That's not a spoiler. They had him in the trailer. They had his voice in the trailer, at least. They have him on the poster. Everyone knows he's back. The way they brought him back was a little weird. And when they introduce him, it just, I don't know, I didn't feel anything spectacular out of it. I was just like, oh, there's Palpatine. That's cool. It didn't, the way they brought him up, it didn't feel like anything exciting. And then just to come to think of it, Palpatine's barely in this movie. For such a big hype to bring back this iconic villain, and he's basically the devil of Star Wars pulling the strings on everything, it feels like they just want to throw him in there for some fan service. By the way, there is a lot of fan service in this movie. One part, especially towards the end, that I fucking loved. And I don't know how other people are going to think of it. It is more of a... I can't even say more about it because I do not want to like hint towards any type of spoilers for people who haven't seen this yet and are watching this. But there are some things that I did really like about this movie that most people didn't care for. And I know it seems like I'm ripping on this movie. It's just, no, this was not a perfect movie. It wasn't. It was not nearly as bad as everyone's making it out to be, that this is the worst Star Wars movie and this is worse than Phantom Menace. It is not. I literally binge watched every Star Wars movie this past month, trying to like hype myself up for it, and I've been a huge Star Wars fan since I was a child, so it's been a long time since I've seen the original trilogy and the prequels trilogy, to where like, only my little kid brain remembers that, and it's been so long since I've seen them, so I had to refresh it. And no, this is not the worst Star Wars movie by any means. This is no Attack of the Clones. This is no Phantom Menace. One thing I'm going to say though really quick that's not a spoiler, that just honestly kind of irritates me a little bit, is Finn. When they introduce Finn in The Force Awakens, and he's this stormtrooper that was with the First Order and was like, no, fuck that, I'm going to join the Resistance, and actually becomes a good guy, I love that. We've never seen that before, really, except if you want to count Darth Vader becoming good at Return of the Jedi. But no, I actually love that they did that with the character, and they really could have done a lot with that and made him a hero. But instead, in Last Jedi and this movie, Rise of Skywalker, he's just there. Finn serves no value to the movie whatsoever. Except, Rey! Over there! That's all he does in these movies, is he just yells someone's name. I'm like, dude, you literally had a good idea for a second there. Like, oh, let's make a character. He's going to be one of the main characters. He's going to be a stormtrooper, and then we're going to turn him good. And then you're just going to kind of sideline him like that. Like, he's not really going to matter after that. They could have killed Finn off, and it wouldn't have mattered. And I love the actor that plays him. He does a great job. I'm not ripping on the actor, and I'm not ripping on the character. I'm ripping on how they wrote this character and how they dealt with him these last two movies. And they made it a really big deal because it's something that they never done. And then you're just going to be like, alright, we're just going to have him yell some things. And that's really it. That's all Finn does. That's it. The one character I want to talk about too is Kylo Ren. Actually, that one part of the movie I really enjoyed. I loved everything they did with Kylo Ren in this movie, and he's always been an interesting character to me because he's Leia and Han Solo's son. You would think he should be like the best good guy, and no, he's not. And obviously you gotta make the story somewhat interesting. But I just love how they wrap up his character in all this. There are some areas that I love with him. And there's one thing especially that just kind of pokes at me a little bit to where I'm like, I don't know how this settles with me. I know I probably should just stop with like the little nitty-grits about it because I do not want to spoil this. And there was a lot of things with Rey's character that no one really cared for that I didn't mind too much. I don't know. Some people think she's too OP. I mean, yeah, she's a Jedi. That was kind of her character development. What would you expect? But, you know, I also see where people are coming from at that after viewing it and after letting it all settle in. So, in my own opinion, overall, just to wrap this up, no, this was not the best conclusion Star Wars could have had, nor was it the worst that everyone's making it out to be and the critics are saying about it. Yeah, remember, they're critics. And Star Wars isn't for critics, you know? Critics are looking for Oscar-worthy movies. Star Wars was never going to be an Oscar-worthy movie. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be for just fans of sci-fi and action. If you are a fan of Star Wars and you've watched every single movie, then yes, watch this. Because why would you get this far and not, you know, wrap up the saga for yourself? I fairly enjoyed this movie. I do want to give it a grade. I want to give it a solid 3 out of 5 stars right now. I think like right down the middle, but to where it's not too high, yet it's not too low, because I am pretty 50-50 with some things. I feel like I still have to let some things settle in. Opinions can always change over time. You know, if you saw the movie and loved it, you can rewatch it and be like, hold on, wait, I actually don't care for this part anymore. Or, you know, vice versa. You hate the movie and then you watch it again, you're like, I'm warming up to how they executed this area here. I want to give the movie a second viewing, catch all the details, to see if I really liked some parts that I enjoyed the first time or if I really disliked some parts that I didn't. I don't know. But I'll do a spoiler review after that and then maybe give a better grade. But for right now, I'm still sticking with 3 out of 5 stars. Decent movie overall. That's all I gotta say. And that's really as much as I could talk about without spoiling it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know of your thoughts of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle with it? Was this the best conclusion you could hope for? Was it not? What did you like about the movie? What didn't you? Things like that. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.